Have you ever wanted to be nostalgic for the end of the year? Hello everybody and welcome to the first video of 2023. So happy new year if you're watching it in 2023 or whenever you're watching it, I guess then I guess it's not your new year. But this video did come out on January 1st. I'm recording this beforehand, as you can tell, because it's currently December, but I wanted to get this video out for the beginning of January and just to kind of go over, as the video suggests, my top 10 manga that I decided to read in 2022. Because, wow, I was kind of looking over everything that I've read over this past year, or over in 2022, excuse me, and there's so much. I read so many volumes of manga. I want to say like the official count is somewhere near 400 volumes, I want to say. Probably more, but I'm not really sure. I probably should have looked it up, or I probably should have counted it all before I started doing this video. But here we are. I never plan anything, except for this, I guess. But, so how this video is going to work is I'm going to split this up into two parts. I'm going to split it up into my honorable mentions first. So they're going to be the volumes or the series that I read that didn't make the cut by just a little bit. It's probably like a couple of things here and there, whether I didn't read it enough or it just wasn't my, it wasn't in my top 10. So, I mean, but once again, they're in the honorable mentions for a reason because they beat out, like, who knows how many other series that could have been on there. But, yeah, let's get it started. Let's go. We're going to find out my top 10 manga of 2022. Alright, so let's talk about my only rule for this entire list, which is a little bit different from my Manga Awards of 2022. So this one, I'm going to be featuring series even without having not released in 2022. My only criteria is I had to have read at least 75% of the series or what I own in 2022. So they're going to be featured series that you're going to be like, well, that series came out in 2005, or that series came out back in whatever. Well, I've told you, so now you know. So this will be more of like my actual top 10 list. The Manga Awards were more for featuring series that did release in 2022. So yeah, this is going to be exactly what I read. So let's get started with those honorable mentions. So first honorable mention has to go to Yotsuba, by Kiyohiko Azuma. So I read the first 5 volumes over the past, I think, 2 months, and I've been thoroughly enjoying the series. It's been super fun. It's been super great. Basically, you don't know what Yotsuba is. It is a slice of life series featuring the girl Yotsuba on the cover here and her father who moved to this new town, and it's about their wacky adventures as they meet their neighbors and go on adventures and trips. And watching a young girl grow up and learn the world. Basically, it's funny. It doesn't. It doesn't need to be as funny as it is. The art is very nice, and overall the characters are very enjoyable. I've been really enjoying what I've read, all 5 volumes. It just didn't quite make the cut. It was so close. Up next, Dragon Ball Z by the famed and acclaimed mangaka Akira Toriyama. This series was remarkable. I read almost all of it. I think I read volumes like 5 through 27 in the year of 2022. And it was just a great time. I mean, I really enjoyed myself. Am I going to say it's like the best series in the world? No. But I think it's well deserves its high praise in terms of being a action shonen and just overall, I don't know, it's a great time. I had a really fun time and I'm glad I read it. So yeah, that's why it's here in the honorable mentions. Alright, another one that barely didn't make it, Forget Me Not by Mag-Su and Naomoto. So I actually just finished reading this entire series from beginning to end in 2022. And it was a lovely read. It was a really good time. If you don't know what this is about, I do talk about the series quite a bit in a lot of my reading logs. But to give you a short synopsis, basically it's about this guy who's down on his luck from what we can tell at the beginning of the series. And he gets into a bad accident and it wakes in the hospital, and he is trying to figure out who saved him, I guess, basically, because like someone had witnessed him crash, and so it's about his story of trying to figure it out, but also like recounting his life and his way with women, especially like his negative and very terrible like things that he's done to a lot of people. So it's basically just going through it and then just showing like heartbreak and how miscommunication and anger and just misogyny and a variety of other things can affect your relationship with your significant other. And he definitely affects a lot of people in the series, and definitely for the worst. And I think that's the point, is to be able to point out that like relationships are complicated and difficult, but you can't always just blame one side, even if it is like a lot of things. Like sometimes it just doesn't work out, and I think that's what's so interesting about this series. Yeah, but if you want a nice short 7-volume series about heartbreak and understanding relationships and complexities of it, you should go check this out. All right, Sakamoto Days. Yuto Suzuki. I've talked about the series at length in so many videos and in a FVI. It had to be here. It like just barely missed it. It's probably like number 11 or number 12 if I were to actually like truly rank it. But absolutely remarkable series. If you don't know about Sakamoto Days, really short synopsis is the main character here, Sakamoto, used to be an assassin. He was like one of the best in the world, but decided to leave the assassin world in order to get married and have a child and basically lie low and live life. But the assassin world is coming back for him, basically, and he has to fight while keeping his family safe. So, that's a really, really short synopsis, but honestly, this series is super awesome. The action's great, the art is very good, and the covers, they do get way better as the series goes on. That's just like a little minor thing, but this is a great series and a really good shonen. I would say check it out if you like yourself an action shonen series. Alright. Alice in Borderland by Haro Aso. So this one is a remarkable series. I genuinely love this series. Super cool. Really good death game series, in my opinion. The art is amazing. Absolutely remarkable. These releases are actually really nice. I really like the covers. They're really cool looking. And as well as the spines on my bookshelf looks great. But characters are awesome. Basically, the series is all these people and that end up in Borderland are like down on their luck in some way or some form or another, and they're basically made to play out these games or they get killed. And all of the games, of course, are extremely violent and or can lead to your death. So it's basically about everybody's like trying to find their will to live in this horrible, horrible world. And it is a great series. Definitely check it out. Alright, the series I got my top shoujo series of the year, at least for series that released in 2022. This is New York, New York by Marimo Ragawa, and it was a remarkable love story mixed with action and thriller and drama. Oh, it was everything and everything that you could think of. Absolutely just goes wrong for these two. And it's a beautiful series. Honestly, I loved it. I loved it quite a bit. I definitely like the second volume a lot more than the first volume, but the two that we got are awesome stuff. This was a really good release, and I really appreciated it, and it was great. And last but not least, for my honorable mentions, The Carmen Line by Mitsuhashi Kotaro. I've talked about the series again in my Manga Awards, but I'll talk about it a little bit here. But basically, it's a collection of short stories that follow this dude as they walk through this thing called the Carmen Line. And just the art is beautiful. I don't want to talk about it too much because like I feel like if you do talk about it, it kind of spoils what happens in the story. So let's just say it's very existential, it's very thought-provoking, and the art is absolutely gorgeous. Definitely check it out. This is an awesome release. And that's going to do it for the honorable mentions, so let's get on to the top 10 list now. So, the number 10 series that I read in 2022 is Our Not So Lonely Planet Travel Guide. I love saying this title, it's so great, by Mone Sorai. So, how this series and what this series is about, we have Asahi and we have Mitsuki, and they are a gay couple living in Japan, and Asahi tells his boyfriend, hey, I will marry you only after we travel around the world. And what makes this series so interesting, I think, is it's just like seeing the interesting and unique dynamic that these two characters have, where we have Asahi, who's a lot more cautious, really like trying to stay rigid and like very stuck in his ways, where like, all right, we need to follow this, we need to do this, we need to do this. While Mitsuki is more like, let's just go with the flow, let's let just life happen. And it's interesting to see how their character flaws like react to one another and how they make up with one another after certain situations, certain things happen. But also, it's just really lovely to see the beautiful artwork for traveling around the world. Like, holy moly, can we talk about this? Like, Mone Sorai absolutely flipping killed it with all the beautiful art, and especially being able to express architecture the way that they did, I mean, it looks like we're actually there. And yeah, maybe like it is like drawn over. I'm not sure. I didn't like research or anything. But regardless, like it's fluid. It's beautiful. The art is great. The characters are wonderful. The story is awesome. Unfortunately, we've only had 2 volumes released in English at this point. I think we're having the 3rd one coming out at some point in 2023. But what is to see, because wow, this series is awesome and I very, very much enjoyed it. I'm super happy that I picked it up because this was a lovely read, especially for the 2 volumes that I've already read. Great time. I can't wait to read more. This is my number 10. Going into number 9, this is Kichi and the Magic Books. So this series is a really, really weird one. I think like I put it on this list for more than just the series alone. I think what was so fun about this series is that this was like, I think one of the first times this year, or excuse me, last year, one of the first times last year where I just decided to buy a series only by its cover. And like I knew nothing about it. I knew like almost nothing like about it really, other than like, oh, that's the title, the art looks pretty nice, and it's released by CMX, so it's probably gonna be a pain in the butt to collect. And lo and behold, it actually wasn't, funny enough. I actually got super lucky in being able to find all 5 volumes within, I think, like 3 or 4 months. And that was genuinely a surprise, especially because of the places that I did find them was like, oh, that's random. But honestly, I'm super excited to have picked up all 5 volumes. But basically what the series is about this little kid here who meets a person who's like a librarian, because books are basically somewhat illegal in this world, where like you can only get them from the librarians. You can't have books without their permission or without getting them from the librarians. So it's a whole lot of crazy stuff. And the character that this guy has the ability to pull basically writing or characters out of a book and make them real. So it's about this crazy story as we make it through. Kiichi is an amazing main character who's this is the little ogre, not ogre, excuse me. He is a ogre. Whatever. I'm blanking right now. I'm looking kind of goofy because I'm putting this as my number 9. But this is an awesome series. If you get the chance to find this, I know it's really hard to find because like it's out of print. It's probably online somewhere, but yeah, if you get the chance, it's just like a super interesting premise. Seeing characters pull things out of books like tigers and animals and birds. It's just like super interesting, super cool. And I really like where the story goes, especially towards the end. I like the ending quite a bit. The ending is wonderful, and yeah, it was just a great series. This is super cool. What else can I say? It was a great time, and I'm going to suggest this probably for the rest of my life because this series was awesome, and if you get the chance, you should definitely check it out. This is my number 9. Alright, going into number 8. Only 1 volume has released in English, but this 1 volume was remarkable, and that is Yokohama Kaidashi Kiko. I feel like I've been talking about this series a lot. This is probably the 3rd time in the past like 3 or 4 main videos that this has come up, and for good reason, honestly, because this series is remarkable. It's so easy to see why, because like just by let's just go check this out. So if you open the first page, you get these beautiful color pages. So thank you 7Cs for these beautiful color pages of the other covers. Just absolutely lovely stuff, and the series is as beautiful as it looks, not just in the art, but also in the characters, in the story. Basically, it follows our character here, who lives in an apocalyptic world where Japan has basically just been almost not eradicated, but after like a crazy environmental catastrophe, a lot of things have changed. So it's about her living in this world and discovering new people. So I don't know if you could tell the parallels, but I've been really enjoying a lot of like slice of life kind of like series. But this one was super awesome, and I think the character is extremely charming. I love how she's always learning and like finding out more about the world, even just through between chapters and in between the overall volume, because yeah, this was awesome. This was super cool. Side characters are really awesome. Everything is like really well paced and just beautiful. Gosh, just looking at it again, yeah, it's just a beautiful mix of like character art and like environmental art. Is done really well. The character designs are hilarious and really funny. I love this old dude who's always got this like this silly little grin on him. But yeah, I think what's so great about it too is that they make like all of the characters make use of a really bad situation because of course going through a catastrophe is going to affect everybody. But I like that like every character tries to stay optimistic throughout all of it, and it's really interesting to see how the characters react to this environmental collapse and also to each other. So yeah, this was just an absolutely remarkable read. I'd say give it a shot, honestly, if you really like any kind of slice of life series. This was awesome. This was beautiful. Definitely give it a shot. This is my number 8. All right, coming into my number 7. This is actually, I think it is. Don't take my word for it, but I believe this is my number 1 shoujo. No, it's not. It is my number 2 shoujo. I had to look at my stack. This is my number 2 shoujo, and this is my number 7, and that is Shortcake Cake by Sue Morishita. So if you can recognize that name right there, Sue Morishita, they are the creator duo behind the remarkable series A Sign of Affection, and that series was really close to making it on my list, but Shortcake Cake really pushed it out. Just to give you some context, this was my first fully completed shoujo series ever. Before this year, I was very much like an anti-shoujo person, like the classic, hey, shoujo's only for girls, blah, blah, blah. But I'm really glad that I broke out of that shell because it really helped to allow me to evolve in my reading and like really give a shot to things I would have. And I think that definitely helped with enjoying of the series. I feel like if I had not jumped into shoujo with Shortcake Cake and with My Love Mix-Up, I don't think I would have ever given a shot to even series like Yokohama, like I mentioned previously, or even series like Yotsuba and stuff like that. Yeah, so I'm really happy and I'm really excited to talk about this series because this series really changed how I feel about manga, even though it not necessarily like explicitly changed it, but it definitely implicitly changed how I feel about things. So Shortcake Cake, very simple story. Basically, there's this girl named Ren who lives in like the middle of nowhere and has to travel to school because it's super far. So she decides to move into a boarding house, and so it's about her story and meeting all these other characters, all these wacky characters. Moves in with her best friend, and basically it's about her learning about love, about romance, about life, and about drama between all these characters. It's just really fun. It's really lovely. I really like most of the characters. Not everybody. There's one character who is a pain in the butt, and if you've read the series, you know who I'm talking about. But overall, Ren is just really entertaining. Everybody is just a great time. The art, of course, is absolutely gorgeous because Sue Morishita is a remarkable artist group, or the artist in Sue Morishita is remarkable. The writing is also very, very funny. It's done really well. A lot of the characters are very believable. So I'm just like, this was a great start for me. I really like Shortcake Cake, and I'm really happy that I decided to jump out of my really, 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 really small bubble and decided to start collecting for other series because it's been really fun to hop into shoujo series and hop into series that I normally wouldn't have. So yeah, I'd like to thank Shortcake Cake for that, and that is why it is number 7. Coming into number 6, here we are, number 6, that is One Dance. And if you've been watching my channel for a bit, I think this would not really come as a shock to most people, but let me give you some context. So One Dance is an absolutely beautiful sports series that focuses on hip-hop dancing, and I just find that to be super awesome. And it focuses on a character who basically like has a hard time communicating. He has a major stutter when people are talking to him, but a lot of people see him as really cool and really try to recruit him for a variety of things because he's like a really tall guy and seems to be fairly athletic, but he never really seems connected to any of those things until he finds this girl whose name is Hikari Wanda, and as the name suggests, One Dance. Haha, very funny. He sees her dancing like nobody's business, just out in the wilderness or outside, and he's completely captivated by it. And he's like, I wonder if I could do something like that. And so he decides to join the dance club and figure it out. At first, he really doesn't have like true rhythm. He's like really shy about it, really struggling with it. And I just think it is such a wonderful series and really cool to see a character who's really following his dreams, or not really dreams, I guess, but following his ambitions, wanting to push himself out there and give something a try that he's never done before. And I think it's just done remarkably well. Gosh, he's such a very well written character. Like the nervousness of wanting to join something in high school, living up to expectations of others. It's just like all the themes that are presented are done really well, and all the answers for them are also like actually practical and really well thought out. It isn't just like, oh, this character is perfect at everything. Like, no, he sucks. Like, he sucks at the beginning, but he slowly but surely like figures it out, starts to discover his own style by, I think, volume 3, I would say. So it's just really cool. It's really awesome to see this character's journey throughout it all. And just to not even talk about the art. The art is so good. The movement is so beautifully like drawn. You get such a nice feeling of movement throughout everything, and it explains it so well. Like, it feels like it's been really well researched and really well understood by the creator, and that I can appreciate. So, Coffee, you did an absolutely great job with this. This is a remarkable series, and I absolutely love it. That is why this is number 6. Alright, number 5. This is why I had to think about the JoJo series, because I forgot that this is a JoJo series. I am a goof. I pulled the classic. I totally forgot. But here we are. It is Banana Fish by Akemi Yoshida. The classic series that has... that is a shoujo series, but people have pointed out that it is a series that has managed to pull not just its target demographic, but demographics across the board. Both like men, male, female, non-binary people really enjoy this series. This series is super awesome. It is your typical classic Crime City story where we have our boy Ash Lynx. And he's living on the streets, and he's a gangster, and he's like a gang leader, super cool, whatever you want to call it. And it's just woven into this crazy story about like gang wars and like bringing in like huge like corporations and stuff like that. It is ridiculous. It is remarkable. It is so fun. I think that's the best way to put it. And like, I think just the amount of characters that get introduced but actually play a role within this series is super amazing. I love seeing when like that is successful, because for me, that's usually a trope that I don't like, is when characters, or when there's a ton of characters that are introduced and only like 3 of them do something, or 3 of them are memorable. But Banana Fish does a really great job of making every character like actually do something. Even if I can't remember their names, I'll be like, oh, that was the guy that did this, or like, oh, that was the character who betrayed this guy. So super amazing. And as you know, art is remarkable for this one. It's very beautifully well drawn. It's really fun, honestly, and I'm really happy they're getting reprints, because people are getting a chance to read the series just like me, because like I said, I started this series this year. So yeah, this is amazing, wonderful. If you want a really good crime thriller, check it out. If you really want a good crime drama, go check it out. If you really want like an interesting kind of historical piece, not really, sorta, I would say also check this out. But if you just want like an action series, go on. You gotta check this out. This is a remarkable series, and definitely worthy of all the praise that it gets as both a manga and an anime. So yeah, that's why it's my number 5. Alright, gotta thank my boy Manga Crash for this one, because he's always pushed this series, and he definitely had an influence on me in buying this series and checking it out. And now it is my number 4 manga series of 2022, and that is Eminon, Memories of Eminon. So there are currently 3 volumes out, and just recently volume 4 was announced, and it totally took me away, and I'm super happy, I'm super excited. So let's get into it. So Eminon is basically about this girl, Eminon, who you meet at the beginning of this volume, and she says that she knows everything about the world, and the character that we meet first, that meets her for the first time, is like, really? Like, let's talk. So they start having a conversation, and she's like spitting out all this like kind of pointless information, but genuinely interesting. So it's this really complex, unique take on like almost like a slice of life series. That's very existential, likes to make you think, like, what would happen if you were to be immortal, in a way. Like, what would happen with all the information that you do know, like, would it break you? And it's just super well done. The art is gorgeous. I can't open it because there are there's a lot of nudity in this series, just a heads up, but I will say, it's extremely important to say that the nudity is not sexualized. So like, it's not just done there to be like, oh look, it's the boobies. Like, it's like this character has I want to say like full control over herself, or like full control over her like understanding of herself. So it's less about like like characters just flashing the reader. It's more of just like this character is living her life and just existing in a way. So I can appreciate it for that. Yeah, this a lot of really thought-provoking things occur within the series. I think like it makes you think a lot. Not necessarily that it's like really big brain or anything. Like, oh, you have to have like a 200 IQ to read this series. No. But it does ask some questions that I don't think people genuinely think about too often, but are kind of fun to think about. It's like, what would happen if like all that kind of stuff happened? And yeah, and it's done in such a nice, beautiful way. Like, this is a great example of just how beautiful the art is. I mean, shoot, I wish I could show more of it, but I'm like worried that I have to blur some stuff out. But yeah, I would say definitely give this a shot if you can find the 3 volumes. And the 4th one, obviously, when it comes out. But yeah, this is a awesome series. I forgot to mention this is by Shinji Kajio and Kenji Tsuruta. Kenji Tsuruta does have another series out in English called The Wandering Island. And if you manage to find that, you should also check that one out because that one's also really good. It is important to note, too, I forgot. Just thought about it now. But this series does really good in pushing the story without dialogue. There are a lot of parts where the characters just kind of standing around, or characters are just walking and not saying anything, and it does like it allows you to reflect on what the characters were discussing, and I think that's just done really well. So, Eminon deserves the number 4 spot. We are free now. This is the top 3. Here we go. Number 3, Twin Star Exorcist by Yoshiaki Tsukeno. So, started the journey of Twin Star Exorcist, and I never knew that it would become one of my favorite shonen series of all time. It is such a remarkable, fun, exciting, amazing, dramatic story, and I love it so much. I love the characters. The characters are great. Everybody is super fun and like super interesting. A lot of the characters are very well thought out. The writing is remarkable. The action is sick. The action is super awesome. The power system is pretty awesome. The art is absolutely beautiful. Like what? It's super cool, and I got to read up to Volume 14. Volume 15 has become extremely difficult to find for whatever reason, so hopefully there is a reprint soon because I've been loving this series. And to give you some context about what the series is about, so basically it's about these 2 exorcists here on the front, they are the Twin Star Exorcists, and as the name does not suggest, they are not twins, spoiler alert. Basically, they're like supposed to be star-crossed lovers, that's like what the joke is, or the meme, I guess you might call it, and they are to create to have a child who is going to become the Exorcist to end the war against like these demon characters, and yeah, against the Kigari. That's what they're called. And it's super awesome. I love our main characters. Rokuro and Benio are absolutely wonderful. Look at their cute little art. I'm sorry, I just get distracted. But I could talk about this series all day. I mean, I could say why it's such a remarkable shonen. Like I mentioned, I think the main characters are really well thought out, really well done. I think it's really interesting that we get to see these different arcs for these 2 different characters, because actually Rokuro is pretty strong at the beginning of the series, and so is Benio. But we get to see like their takes on the training arc and how they start to change their fighting styles as they proceed through life, as certain things occur with them. There's a lot of events that occur. Yeah, it's really great, honestly, and it's really interesting too because like there are characters who seem like they're good but are not truly good, and I think that's what makes it so much fun to read this too, is because like our main characters are kind of stuck in this power struggle of like who's good and who's bad. Like we've been told that these characters are all bad or whatever, but there seems to be something more going on, and I just absolutely love that there's like a little bit of a hint of a mystery there. And yeah, I mean, I love this series, and I'm really surprised that nobody else talks about it because this series is flippin' awesome. It deserves to be here. This is number 3. Alright, number 2. I think it's pretty obvious if you watched my Manga Awards video. I can't believe I forgot my own video. That's unbelievable. I should probably link it or something. But this is going to be pretty obvious. My number 1's going to be pretty obvious, but just to save you some time, this is Witches, the complete collection by Sasuke Igarashi. Another remarkable 7 Seas release, and this was amazing. This was so good. basically, this is a short story collection that is talks about a variety of different kind of witches across the world and what their witchcraft is and how it's seen by the people of their world and of their countries and stuff like that. And it's just like a really beautiful traveling, I guess, across multiple worlds, across what witchcraft means to them. Some of them are deified, others are seen as like demons. The art is remarkable, and sometimes it's like just genuinely surprising to look at. But wow, Daisuke Igarashi is a remarkable writer, and I really appreciate like the writing that went into this, the art that went into this. All of the characters are super interesting and super cool, even though we only get them for like a story each. But it is amazing. It is so amazing. Like, look at the beautiful art, especially on the back. This was just, I'm so happy that it came out. I didn't even know like what it was until it did come out, and I'm really happy that I did pick it up because I gifted this to a friend because I thought it was a remarkable read and that they had to check it out as well. So yeah, if you really like your short story collections, if you like Daisuke Igarashi, or if you like anything that's like kind of like talks about witchcraft, then I would say definitely pick this up. This is definitely worth a read, and that is why it is number 2. Okay. So I know everybody knows what like number 1's going to be because I've talked about number 1 so much. I've had an FBI. It's been on the top of my Manga Awards, and yeah, I think it's going to be pretty obvious, but I'm going to show it anyway. So here we are. Here we are. Number 1. Should be no surprise to anybody, considering how much I do not shut up about this series, but I gotta talk about it again because I have to, and that is Lost Lad London. It is my goal, it is my duty as a reader of manga to talk about the series because it is so good, it is so remarkable, it is so fun. There is so much to love about it. There is the remarkable, unique style of art, Shima Shinya's awesome and thoughtful writing. The characters are all done really well. You really start to sympathize and empathize with everybody just about. And just like the overall use of like nice art and mixed in with like the surrealness that occurs like throughout the series. Everything that goes on, the mysteries, all super awesome. I'm so sad it's gonna end. I can't believe we're gonna have only 3 volumes of this, but I'm really hope that we get more Shima Shinya work because like we as English readers deserve to see more of Shima Shinya's work in English. So get on it, Yen Press, get on it, Kodansha, get on it, Shonen Jump, or excuse me, Viz Media, or get on it, Seven Seas, or get on it, any of the indie publishers, because Shima Shinya deserves to have more work in English because this was remarkable. This was awesome. It is so hard to encapsulate just how amazing this series is without talking your ear off. Or I guess it is because maybe you should just go watch the FBI. Where I talk a lot more in depth about this series. But this was super awesome, and it's super awesome to see this kind of stuff coming out from Japan, where we have stories about characters who are not Japanese, who we have characters who are not living in Japan, and I think that's what's super awesome about this. Obviously, I want more of that because I think it's really cool to see somebody else's perspective from a different country, and this is just done so well. I love it. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. Go check it out. You have to. I said so. I am authority or something. I'm not really. Don't actually listen to me if you don't want to. But honestly, this is definitely worth a shot. Just go and read the first volume. If you don't like it, you know, that's totally okay. But if you do like it, go and talk to me in the comments because I can rant, I can rave about this series for hours. So, that's going to do it for my top 10 manga of 2022. Were you absolutely surprised by my number 1? And if you were, interesting. And if you weren't, I'm not surprised. But thank you for watching all my videos throughout 2022. It was such a remarkable time. It was so fun to really get more into this. It's not my job or anything. I really just do this as a hobby. But I really do enjoy talking about manga, and I've been so happy to talk about it as much as I have in 2022. Being able to start, like, actually putting a lot of more work into it, you know, actually getting stuff to make my videos worth watching and worth, like, checking out. So I really appreciate all the support over the past year, and I'm really excited for 2023. Who knows what's going to happen. The channel, I'm going to continue posting, and we'll see how I grow from there. And, yeah, thank you for coming along. Happy New Year, or happy whenever you are doing, I guess, if you're not watching this on the new year. And I will see you in another video in 2023. So you can like, you can comment, you can subscribe, and I'll see you around. Bye-bye.